On today's episode of the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast, with me, your host, Rebeccah Silence, we talk generational healing. This is a hot subject, it's a sticky subject, and we're about to dive right in. The Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast is brought to you by RebeccahSilence.com. Please visit RebeccahSilence.com today. That's RebeccahSilence.com to learn more about programs for individuals, couples, children, families, and businesses. See for yourself at RebeccahSilence.com, RebeccahSilence.com, what's possible for your next steps in breakthrough and healing. So what is a breakthrough? It's finding your way out of suffering and stuck. It's that feeling of new energy, renewed life, and excitement. When I was 7 months pregnant with my second baby, I received a life-changing diagnosis. I had cancer. When I told my older daughter, she said, "So you're going to die?" And the only thing that saved my life during that time was knowing how to emotionally break through. Welcome to the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast. I'm your host, Rebeccah Silence. I'm a speaker, coach, and the creator of Healing is Possible. In each episode, I prepare you for life no matter what challenges you're facing. I'm going to invite you into the stories of real people who are living life in breakthrough and making the world a better place. If they can do it, so can you. Breakthrough is your right. Get ready to break through. Get ready for the rest of your life. So what is generational healing? In my world, generational healing is about the person in the family system that's brave enough and aware enough and willing enough to start to end cycles that just pass pain patterns on one generation to the next. I believe we inherit generational pain patterns. I believe we inherit generational pain patterns and that they can heal. And in my private practice, I see generational healing session after session, miracle after miracle. And what I'm here to suggest today is that generational healing is available to you as well. It's not fun. It's messy. It's not easy, but it's possible and it's worth it. What are some examples of generational pain patterns? Abuse cycles, poverty cycles, mental illness cycles. And while all of this is real, the cycle can start to change, break, heal, and transform. In season 1 of the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast, I did an episode on quitting. And I talked about learning quitting from my mom. And I talked about how we all learn, again, inheriting generational pain patterns, quitting on some level from someone. We weren't born knowing how to quit. And once we learn it, it becomes an option. I want to take that story deeper today because while our parents are the influences that pass on generational pain patterns from one generation to the next, it's not their fault. This is really important. In my work with clients, it's so often scary for clients to think about, I don't want to blame my parents. So I want to be really clear when we're talking about generational healing, we're not talking about blaming anyone. And then, of course, our parents are our teachers. They are our teachers in what's possible, what's not, what works, what doesn't, what's the right way, what's the wrong way, what our escape and exit strategies and coping skills become. We learn until and unless we learn a new direction beyond what we saw. So what's really important in this conversation today about generational healing is that no one's wrong and it's no one's fault, and no parent is responsible for what their children make up about themselves and possibility and limitations. It's nobody's fault. Kids make up what they make up to survive. I made up what I made up to survive my childhood. And so did you. And so did my parents. And so did your parents. And the cycles absolutely can heal. So whether you're in a cycle of quitting on yourself or other people, not wanting to commit, or committing to people that hurt you over and over again, whatever it is, these cycles were inherited and can heal. So I know I'm like a broken record, but I can't emphasize enough how much power we have in transforming the experiences that we're in. And a lot of the patterns and experiences that we inherited, they go deep. They go so deep, and it can be so painful, not only to live it, but to start to flirt with the possibility that it can heal because, well, what if it can't? Or what if we risk it and it becomes painful and there is no coming out the other side? I'll give you an example of generational healing. So while I was sick after being pregnant, diagnosed with cancer, and having a brand new baby, I was in the fight of my life, not just for my life, but with my body and with my relationship with my body. And I remember thinking, for all the women and men in my generational ancestry that also had body issues, what if the healing work that I'm taking on, challenging the relationship I've had with my body, challenging the beliefs that my body is to blame, not just for cancer, but really at the time, what I was thinking was that it was my body's fault for anything and everything that had ever gone wrong in my life. If I'm just being straight with you right now. If I had an issue, if things didn't go my way for decades, my default setting was, well, it didn't go my way because I'm too fat. I didn't get treated better because I'm too fat. I didn't get seen or noticed or respected because I'm too fat. I didn't get the easy hand dealt to me that I would have if I wasn't so fat. And my journey with my body, it's been a doozy, from childhood abuse to eating disorders to basically over exercising and beating myself up because I thought I needed to be thinner, sexier, more attractive, and then I would feel better about myself. Vicious cycle. And I'll never forget being in this cancer bed and thinking, what if this body work is bigger than just me? And what I'm going to suggest to you right now is whatever generational healing patterns you want to change for you, for your kids, a lot of us, for me, for sure, the beginning of this taking on healing is possible, taking on emotional breakthrough work, taking on becoming the toughest, highest version of myself, regardless of circumstances. It was for my daughter. I couldn't do it for me in the beginning. And you might not be able to do it for you in the beginning, and that's okay. But if you see family members playing out patterns, if you see possibility for yourself and your kids beyond what you've seen or learned or inherited, then this episode is for you because it can definitely change. But it's hard and it's scary and it's shaky at best, but find something that becomes so inspiring to you that it makes it worth it. For me, it was my daughter. While I was sick in bed, in not, again, just the fight of my life with my body, but the war against my body had gotten obviously so loud that I just decided, as long as I'm still alive, I'm going to win and transform this war with my body. How can I be so mad at a body that offered me the opportunity to have a healthy baby even while I had stage 3 cancer, and that was still fighting for me and still breathing for me and still waking up every morning, no matter what the statistical odds were, and no matter how sick I was or how much pain I was in, my body carried me through. My body is amazing, and I can genuinely say that to you today from a space of gratitude and believing it and honoring it. And for so long, that was bullshit. I was living in spite of my body. And I'm just going to say that is an inherited generational pain pattern that's nobody's fault, but that I was carrying. I have lots of family members and lots of generations and history of people in my lineage that don't have healthy relationships with their bodies or honor their bodies. And on some level, I energetically and literally took that on and then had my own experience that I got to decide, am I going to keep playing this out, or am I going to continue to be part of this cycle? This is delicate. This is delicate, and the possibilities for miracles are endless. And I'm really grateful to have a mom who's willing to talk through generational patterns and just dynamics and breakdowns that she and I have had together that don't work anymore, that we want to repair and reinvent. I mean, the number one step to generational healing is to get honest about the patterns you're in that you don't want to be in anymore. The second step is to start to have the hard conversations about your responsibility for the pattern that you're in. It's a rabbit hole and it's a shit show to go down the road of blaming your parents, your ancestors, your circumstances, your childhood. However, we do have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge, here's the pain pattern I'm in. For me, the example I'm using on this episode is the war with my body. I've got to talk about it. I've got to talk about and realize and recognize and own I've seen people I love doing a similar dance with their relationship with their body. I don't want that anymore. And then you may not have, like I do, someone in your family like my mom to start talking some of this out with. I have aunts that I talk to about body image issues. I have my mom that I talk to about body image issues. I have my 16-year-old daughter that I talk to about body issues. It's not to share the victim story. It's to start to breathe life into the possibility that these patterns can heal. I can have a different relationship with money than the women that came before me. I can have a different relationship with my body, with sex, with my power, with my voice. The list goes on. And this is true for men, women, all sexual orientations, genders. You can change the game, but nobody can do it for you. And it's not necessarily going to be popular in your family system. But here's what's key. Nobody in your family system is wrong or needs to be different. I'll say that again. Nobody in your family system is wrong or needs to be different. And how you feel about your life is not anybody else's fault. And it doesn't mean there weren't real things that happened, that there wasn't real heartbreak, real abuse, real issues, real trauma, or real darkness. What I'm suggesting is that what's real is what happened, and now who are you going to be and what are you going to do about it for the trajectory of your life? And this, again, it's so delicate because I'm not talking about better than. I'm not saying you can be better than them. I'm saying you can be better for you. You can have a different experience for you, and then their experience is their experience. And again, back to my mom, there was a retreat that we did together where I really got permission to start to live outside of the box and patterns that I was used to with my mom being in a seminar, saying in front of 100 people to me, go be better than me, grow past me. I want everything for you. I got that. What a gift. You might not get that, but that's a support that you can give you, even if you don't get that from family members. My relationship with my mom is one of the toughest ones that I'll ever have, and it makes me the best version of me. Our relationship with our parents dictate everything. You know, women learn what's possible for them watching their mothers. Men learn what's possible for them watching their fathers. But either way, the patterns our parents play out become our self-inflicted glass ceiling of possibility for ourselves and our kids until and unless we'll shatter them. And we get to do that. And we have what we need to do that. And it takes courage to become your own internal validation in the process of designing your life the way you want it. And that's breakthrough. We've got to break through the patterns, the stuck, the pain, the heartbreak, the darkness to live different, to feel different, to be different, and to risk being the black sheep in the family, the outlier. So many people say to me in coaching, Rebeccah, I just wish I could be normal. I'm going to say, screw normal. How scary is normal? Normal is abusing substances. Normal is being numbed out, checked out, miserable, living in spite of our past, our pain patterns, our generational programming. And today is about generational healing, which is really just generational programming. And we all can reprogram and rewire our own computer called ourselves, the way we think, the way we live, the way that we let ourselves off the hook or not. It's all based on our programming, and we get to rewire, and we get to reinvent, and we get to transform, and we get to break through. And I'll never forget the moment where I recognized sick in bed that if my body kept me alive, if I'm still here and that baby's healthy, how can I ever disrespect my body again? No matter what I saw or made up about what a healthy relationship with our body is, or what was available to me in terms of the possibility for having a healthy relationship with my body, it didn't matter anymore. The programming, the patterns, the pain that I had experienced or decided that other people in my lineage were experiencing, I could choose to honor my body. And I did, and I do. And my body has genuinely become my greatest teacher, my greatest gift, and it's got all of what I need in any given moment to offer me an opportunity to make the next right decision for me. My body helps me know what's a no for me, what's a yes for me, what is the next right thing for me and the people in front of me. How can I be more, give more, serve more? My body gives me that guidance. Nothing else. It allows me to connect to something bigger than me that guides me home and allows me to hear that guidance. I hear guidance through my body because I gave up the war. What's the generational war that you need to give up? What is the relationship with a parent that is keeping you from having the life and experience and results that you've been looking for? That parent is there to help challenge you to be more, to break through for you, for the family system, for possibility. And that is an amazing, amazing tool that you have access to that maybe you could take deeper or haven't even thought about yet. It's not our parents' fault. They're human. They're playing out what they learned as well. And we can have compassion and choose what's best for us, regardless of what we've seen or the hamster wheel that we've been living in. It's an honor to share possibility with you today about generational healing. And we've got some questions from listeners like you. We want to hear from you. Call, leave a message, ask your questions, and we'll do our best to include your question in an episode of the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast down the road.
Hi, my name is Marie, and I'm calling from Denver. I love your show, and I want to thank you so much for everything that you do. My question today is, I would like my mom to tell me the story that she tells herself about the generational pain she experienced while growing up, but I'm a little bit worried that I'll trigger her in some way. How can I ask that question the right way?
I love this. So there is no right way to ask the question, but we have to have compassion. And I think the most important way to talk to your parents about where are they coming from and why, and what did they experience and with who, it's about curiosity beyond blame, threat, or intimidation. So if you're going to approach a parent from a place of accusation or blame or threat or intimidation, putting them on the defensive, you're not going to get very far. Again, my mom's a great example. We've had really hard conversations along the way. And again, it starts with just recognizing the pattern you're in. And then it's about starting to have the hard conversations with yourself, with your family members. And the way to do that is to be curious and neutral and seeing them from a place of innocence and doing their best to. And it doesn't mean they won't get triggered. Don't avoid the conflict. Just make sure you're not coming from attack or blame or threat or intimidation. So for example, mom or dad, I want to understand. I see a pattern that I'm in that I also see that you've been in, and I want to know more about maybe where this came from in our history. Are you willing to have this conversation? Start there. Get permission. And if they say, no, I don't want to talk about this, or why are you asking me this? Just let them know it would mean a lot to me if eventually I could learn more about you and where you come from and what you've been through. That's a door that you can open. That's an olive branch that you can give. And that's a really beautiful opportunity for you to get, while you still have your parents alive, if you do, some more connection and intimacy and answers for both of you.
Hi, my name is Keon. I'm calling from the University of Colorado Boulder. Thank you for all that you do, and I wish there were more men that would listen to you and your content. I'm really sick of my own victim narrative, and especially my father's victim story, or at least the one I tell myself. How can I get my dad to work with me to end this cycle?
So you can't get anybody to end any cycle. You can create connection that breathes life and possibility into the relationship and into the family system. I'll say it one more time. You can create connection that breathes life and possibility into more generational healing and transformation and possibility. But you approaching your parent, you approaching yourself, you approaching another family member from the perspective of self-responsibility is everything. I'm suffering. I'm unhappy. I am no longer wanting to live this way. Can you talk to me about maybe some of where I come from, some of where you come from? Are you supportive of me breaking this cycle? And the other piece of this that I think is so important is, you may or may not get support from the family members that you're seeking it from. Do it anyway. Do your healing work, your transformational work anyway. And let them surprise you. But you're not going to let them surprise you if you're really attached to the way you think they need to support you or be. That's been one of the hardest things with my own mom, just again, using her as an example. And I'm so grateful to her for being willing to have these hard conversations and to be an example in my life for all of us around generational healing. There are times that I have wanted her to support me a certain way. She does the best she can to support me her way. And unless that's enough, then I've got a wall between us. Let people love you the way they know how and want to love you. Let people support you the way they know how and want to support you. And ask for it, but let it be enough for you and for them, for the family system. And if you're sick and tired of your victim narrative, bravo. Go to RebeccahSilence.com. Take the 5-day Healing is Possible challenge or take the 5-week Healing is Possible course. Get the healing going. At RebeccahSilence.com, I have a roadmap for you of tools and courses and possibilities to get you going without needing anybody or anything to be different.
Hi, my name is Paslin Chopra. I'm calling from Denver, Colorado. Your work is very meaningful to me. Thank you for all that you do. Here's my question. Does herd immunity apply to the general generational pain? Is it possible to end generational pain if I'm the only person in my family committed to doing so? Thank you.
Yes, and yes, and yes, and yes, and they're not wrong for living how they live, being where they are. We all do our best based on the level of awareness that we have available to us. And trauma can run deep. Pain cycles and pain patterns run deep, and families can go generations back. And sometimes you're up against a generational healing that is so much bigger than you, like the work I was doing with my body in my family system. And it's a double-edged sword. It can be different, and not everybody wants it to be different. And it's not your business to make anybody else different. And it is your business to show up fully as you in your family system. That's what I'm going to leave us with today. It is your right. It is your responsibility to show up as all of you, as authentic as possible in your family system, instead of being in survival mode, trying not to rock the boat, trying to avoid conflict, trying not to be too much, or operating from the perspective that you're not enough in your family system. You can heal that for you and the stories you make up about what is acceptable about you in your family. You can get to the point where you're just you and you see them as them and you love them for who they are and you love you and have compassion for who you are and you let your best be enough and you let their best be enough. And that's my wish for families. And that's my wish for generational healing, that you don't disappear in your own family and in your own life, and that you don't put so much pressure on the people in your family that are where they are, that they need to be a certain way for you to have a connection or a relationship with them. Instead, you love them, you see them, you love you, you see you, and you keep that door of connection open. That is what's possible, that no matter what's happened, that no matter what you face, no matter who they are, no matter what they've done, you can keep the connection to forgiveness and possibility for reinvention open. Now, the only exception is if you are in an abusive, dangerous situation. I don't want anybody going back for more abuse or putting themselves in a dangerous position. That's not what this episode is about. But regardless of abuse or history or pain, you can get to the point where your victim consciousness, no one's a victim, it's a consciousness as adults, can heal, where you can be more and more and more you, confident, empowered, the source of your own encouragement, making sure people know who you are. Show up in your family as the you that you want to be and know that's possible. Meet people for who they are as a human being with flaws, with a past, with compassion, and watch your family system start to heal and transform. And more than that, your experience of your family system can heal and transform. This one goes out to my mom. We've had so many hard conversations, such a road of healing and possibility and connection. And I wouldn't be where I am without her. And our families, they give us everything we need. They give us the perfect boot camp to heal through pain and trauma and heartbreak, to live into our life purpose work, and to be the versions of ourselves that we know we can be, strive to be, and have dreamed of being. Generational healing is possible in every family, for every person, and you don't need anybody else to do it with you. You just have to decide you want it more than the comfort of playing out the cycles that you've been in and of believing that it isn't possible. It's comfortable to believe that it isn't possible, but it's a dead end. And I'm here to challenge us all to live beyond the generational pain patterns that we've lived, inherited, and have decided are dead ends. There's life beyond it. And you have all the power and everything you need to take your life on to the next level, shattering glass ceilings of pain patterns that don't serve you anymore. Thank you for your courage. Please note that the content of this podcast is not meant to be therapeutic or to replace any personal growth work that you are already doing with a coach, therapist, or mentor. Take the content, have it inspire you, and then keep working with your support system. Breakthrough is your right. Breakthrough reminds us that we're tougher together and that we're connected to possibility even in the most challenging and possibly darkest times. I'm Rebeccah Silence, creator of Healing is Possible and proud host of the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast. where we come together and we tell stories of real breakthrough that exist for you as well. Get ready to break through. Get ready to live more free and get ready to experience more breakthrough, because that's your right. If you like what you're hearing on the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast with me, your host, Rebeccah Silence, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want to get in touch with me, visit RebeccahSilence.com. Your time is now. Your breakthrough begins now.